Welcome to this topic discussion module on Digital Governance Master Plan. My name is Remy Sechipi. I'm the Section Chief of Policy, Legislation, Governance at UN Habitat Headquarters in Nairobi. So today we will learn more really on the how. How can you prepare a good digital governance master plan to transform your city, keeping people really at the center of that master plan? But why will you need a master plan to guide your digital governance? First, it's important that we all stakeholders in the digital landscape understand where we are going. So defining the common direction is essential. Another reason is putting the citizen at the center. What are the needs of the citizens, the people in the city? What are the needs of the governments to respond to some of the challenges in terms of maybe access to services, products? The needs have to be clearly understood. And another reason is that we have to have a clearer vision of what type of digital governance we want for our city, and what would that take in terms of process, products, and outcome to achieve the objective that we will have set up. And one of the instruments you can use in terms of defining the digital master plan is participation and engagement, because if citizens and stakeholders do not participate in that preparation of the plan, then the implementation or the rolling out of the plan will be a challenge. So digital governance master plan is also a means to engage with the stakeholders. And more importantly, it's about resource mobilization, because you have now a good framework, a good strategy, a good document in place to guide, to bring together all the resources needed to transform your city through the governance and so forth. So I hope you understand why you would need a digital governance master plan for your city. Let me go through a few steps. We have identified about 7, but they are not exhaustive, just to give you an idea of how you can maneuver or walk your way through the master plan development for digital transformation. The key thing is to understand the why. Why do you need a master plan for your digital governance? We talk about that later, but in your context, identify those priorities, identify why you need them. It cannot address all challenges, so you have to try to identify really the issues that need to be impactful, transformative, and so forth. Again, and I will talk about that later, but keeping really the vulnerable, the people, the citizen at the heart of that. And while we identify the priorities, it's important that you look at the existing resources that you have. You don't want to start from the beginning in the inception of your plan, setting the standard that are beyond the capacity, your existing resources. A resource pool that you have could be financial, technical, and human, or whatever. So that had to be part of your understanding of setting up the priorities and the why you need a master plan. The second step is to understand who are the master plan for who and who should be involved. Understanding the stakeholder is very important. It's not only stakeholder, but actors, beneficiaries, anyone who will have a form of interest in this. Remember, governance is about balancing all the interests. It's about power relations and how these relations are managed. So in the context of the master plan, it's important that you know the who. And when you clearly have that mapping and understand the role of each actor and each stakeholder, that helps you scope the master plan to respond to their needs, as we just discussed in the previous step. So we are at step 3, and here we talk about the vision. What type of city do you want through the lens of digital governance. It's good that that common understanding, common vision is defined, and there are elements that had to go into that. That all remember the needs, remember the stakeholders, so the stakeholders' understanding of the needs is what will form the vision. And that vision, hopefully, will have a time bound. It should not just be open, too ambitious. It should be scope and say we can achieve, we could lack in 2020, in 2040, 2050 to have our cities that is transformed as such with the through the digital governance. When you have that clear vision, you can start breaking them down into something that is more palatable, tangible. And that's the step 4, clear objectives that are deriving from your vision, where those operational objectives could actually explain or explore and breaking down the vision in terms of what can be achieved. This will be understood and prepared in the context of something that you can measure, something that you can really see, monitor, that you can tell at the end of this, when you are evaluating or monitoring this plan, you might be able to say, yes, I can see progress here, and the progress is up to this extent. That's why it had to be realistic, because we hope that you have prioritized your issues, you have had the right stakeholders, you have a vision that is well understood, and that is your objective, therefore had to be realistic. And you can break that down into short, medium, long term, but nevertheless important that they are measurable, they are realistic, they are supporting delivering your vision. At the step 5, it's important that you start putting your work plan in place. It's good that you have a roadmap. I have this vision with these objectives. How long would that take to achieve that? What action do I need to undertake, gradually to achieve that? So it's important that the roadmap is clearly defined so that you can roll that out. And the roadmap could ask questions so that what activities need to be done by when, and who will do it, and how much it's going to cost, because you have to cost this in terms of human resources, financial, or other inputs that you need to get that activity delivered to support the objective that you have set up. Of course, sometimes we are ambitious. We can try to put too many things. That's why you have to prioritize the actions, which one should come first. If you don't create the sequencing of those activities, they may not build into each other. So that sequencing is important when you prepare your roadmap and action plan. The 6th step that I'm proposing to you is that you have to put in place different strategies. Could be resource mobilization, could be partnership, communications, or any instrument that you feel will need to have clarity of purpose to get that done. Let me take the example of resource mobilization. Since I indicated that in the resources are very important, and here by resources I mean human, technical, financial, and any other type of resources or input you may need to deliver on your master plan. So resources have to be mobilized, used, and accounted for. So in terms of resource mobilization, that is the purpose of this example, we should have the unit and overall cost of our interventions, from actions, activities, and so forth. We have to know how much would that cost, because that will help us again prioritize or help us identify which one should sequencing our activities and so forth. So this is very important that the cost elements are there to identify which one should come first. Besides that, you have to identify where would the funds come from. If they are not of existence, how would they be mobilized? What are the options we have? It could be on-source resources from your budget, could be to be mobilized through third party, private sector, other. It could be through secondment other could be through loans in banks and others. So, but you have to identify where would the resources come from to deliver your program. Step 7, which is the last that I'm proposing to you, but not the least, is you have to always ask yourself when preparing the master plan, how would these activities, action will be monitored and evaluated? At what point will I tell that what has this plan set to do had been implemented, had been undertaken, had been considered? Are there pitfalls? Are there some challenges? Are there some quick wins that need to be multiplied? Some challenges that need to be addressed? Are there some risks that I need to consider, addressing, mitigating? So as you do that, you have to making sure that resources are there for evaluating and monitoring your programs. At times we forget this part, but they are very much important to avoid bigger catastrophic situations whereby we invest in something that might not work. As you look at monitoring and evaluation, you might be focusing on high impact actions, high impact priorities to support the master plan so that they are visible on the ground. There are some who can actually imagine that when the master plan is in place, that there is a home for the master plan. Some government or local government have decided to set up a dedicated department to look at the digital governance, which will be in charge of implementing your master plan. So institutionalizing, don't let the master plan hanging. It should be domesticated somewhere specific with duty of care to deliver on the promises that are in the plan. It's always good that in the monitoring and evaluation, say, strategy or framework, that they help identify the quick wins or pilot activities or things that can start really to show results on the ground, to encourage more intervention, innovations. As you come to the end of this particular topic, I would like to just highlight a few points to consider as a takeaway. That master plan is about prioritization of issues, stakeholders, and actions, and the transformative element. Remember, the topic is about transformation. The second one is that you can't do it alone. The more stakeholders you have, the better it is. So consider broadening your scope, and the stakeholder here is not only in the digital world, but in the governance world, the urban world, and other actors in that sphere. The digital ecosystem is huge, sometimes underestimated. So take advantage of that, broaden the scope, and see how you can use that to transform your cities. Start small, look at the high impact projects, actions, and other. You can't start everything at once. Start with where you can start showing results and impact. Good luck.